Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about 3 more tarot cards, and the first one is Justice. This one. The female figure of Justice sits on the throne between 2 pillars. She wears a crown whose main features include the 3 turrets and a square jewel, and she holds the golden scale of justice in her left hand. In her right hand she holds the upright sword. The figure of Justice does not wear a blindfold over her eyes, but conveys an impression of strict impartiality and authority. Nevertheless, she has a green cape, the colour of Venus, and a red robe, the colour attributed to Mars. Ruled by Venus, this path leads to the sphere of her love. Mars on the tree of life, and appropriately designated by the figure of Venus holding scales and the sword of justice. Mine does actually show that, which makes change it relating to this book, which is great. Its interpretation. In Eastern mysticism, the tarot path of justice would be considered a path of karma, a path where the individual encounters the consequence of his or her actions. Justice demands balance, adjustment, and total impartiality. On this path, the meditator begins to discover the nature of the true inner self by overcoming the illusory aspects of outer appearances. Sorry if my pronunciation is wrong. Bad again. I'm sorry. Right, its meaning in tarot spread. This card represents balance, fairness, and impartial judgment. Drawing this card signifies that in your domestic or business life, justice will prevail. This may well portend a new cycle of equilibrium and harmony at home or at work. You will receive what is due to you in terms of your personal relationships. You may have to assess whether you are being fair to your partner, both emotionally and sexually, because you would surely accept the same sort of consideration in return. Reverse meaning. You are suffering injustice or loss. You are immersed in legal complications. You are betrayed by an act of prejudice. Someone you know feels inadequate or is unable to change the present course of events. The self-development lesson. In response to the universal law of cause and effect, we all have to bear the full responsibility of our thoughts and actions. Sooner or later you will feel the full thrust of their consequences, for better or for worse. My next card is Hangman. A young man whose head is glowing with radiant light hangs upside down, suspended from a T-shaped wooden cross. Leaves are sprouting from the cross, indicating that it is vibrant and alive, a symbol of cosmic life. One of the man's legs is bent
What gives you the authority to call a meeting and summon me?
Behind the other, so his legs are also in the formation of a cross. The garment he is wearing is blue, symbolic of water, while his legs are red, representing of fire. There is a clear presence of complementary elements, and this is the number 4, and the symbol of the cross signifies balance. The figure of the hangman personifies the act of surrendering to a higher wisdom, or, as Paul Foster Case has expressed, it's the submission of the personal consequences of the direction of the universal mind. Okay, the spiritual interpretation. This tarot path, like that of justice, leads to Gebura, the sphere of action. The hanged man swings by his foot, symbolising sacrifice, but because of his inverted position he can also be compared to a reflection in water. The element ascribes to this path. The head of the hangman is all aglow. He's reflecting inspirational light through to the lower levels of the tree of life. In a tarot spread, the hangman is a vital for light, of higher spiritual wisdom. So drawing this card signifies that you are embarked upon or will soon undertake a journey of spiritual growth. This may well indicate that you are about to leave your old self behind, adorning your more materialistic and worldly concerns in favour of a path towards spiritual enlightenment. This card is also about acceptance and the capacity to remain open to new ideas. Reverse meaning, once again this way. You are neglecting your spiritual potential and have become more preoccupied with your worldly self. You have closed your heart and mind to the spiritual guidance. You are vulnerable to the influence of others who do not have your interests to heart and may deceive you. You should act cautiously and avoid making hasty decisions. You may also find it helpful to question the values and beliefs that you currently hold. Self-development lesson. We all have potential to become vehicles for the light and to learn to reflect the higher spiritual wisdom in our everyday lives. In doing this, we will learn to forego the desires and preoccupations of the worldly self and are surrounded to the power of the cosmic guidance. Okay, my final card today is one some people think is a bad card, but it's not bad. It's death. A skeleton clad in a suit of armour is shown riding a white horse and holding aloof a hammer of a 5-petalled rose. A symbol of Mars, the Roman god of war, the body of a slain king lies on the ground and nearby a child offers a small bouquet of flowers. A young maiden kneels on the ground, her head cast to one side in a gesture of submission. A bishop is also shown standing beside her and clasping his hands together as he submits to the rule of the Dominic, the figure of death. The bishop wears a fish head mitre representing the religious traditions of the age of Pisces, the Christian era. The designer apparently wise to the property of death of the age of Pisces and hint to the new spirituality that would emerge in its place. The rising sun represents spiritual rebirth and renewal. It's clearly visible on the horizon. Its interpretation is the tarot card of death indicates the lightened nature of the ego bond personality. In the mystical tradition, death heralds new life, and here in the distance beyond the skeleton figure on the horse we see the sun rising over the horizon. On the tree of life path of death leads to Trifith, I can't pronounce this, the sphere of spiritual awakening. Despite its confronting imagery, the path through death leads inevitably towards spiritual rebirth. Okay, its meaning in tarot spread. This card represents change, transition, rebirth and renewal. Drawing this card signifies that you're about to experience a period of change and you must now try to leave the past behind you. You are now called to face the future with renewed hope and confidence in the knowledge that the change will be for the best. Reverse meaning. You are lapsing into temporary stagnation or inertia. You feel depressed and are in need of new ideas and motivation. This card may also indicate the death of a prominent person or impending disaster. Self-development lesson. To develop spirituality, we have to learn, leave our material selves behind and be reborn in the light. Death is never final, it is a state of transition. Sorry if my reading's bad again, I always do apologise about it, so I hope you've enjoyed that and bless me.